So Stu, awesome, man. Thanks for having us come down.
Yeah.
And you're obviously on your way to the UN conference on climate change in Scotland. Can you tell us how you're feeling and what do you hope to get out of it?
I am feeling tired and also some excitement now that it's finally happening after a lot of planning. I think I hope to make some real connections with other farmers who are there and other organizations that are working to try and support different kinds of transitions to deal with the climate crisis.
And this is obviously also the end of your farm season.
Yeah, they're kind of both happening in conjunction with each other. I've been furiously working to get the farm ready for me to leave and burning the candle at both ends. And luckily, I have a really dedicated partner that is and continuing to pick up my slack as I go off to do this thing, which she's really supportive of. But also, there's a bunch of farm work that still needs to get done. So, yeah.
If you do meet Greta, you can let her know you were driven to the airport in a smart car.
I will. I'll mention that.
So just going back to sort of the conference in Scotland, tell us a little about like the concept of you going.
Yeah.
You know, you're a young farmer.
Yeah.
So how does the agricultural sector play a role in sort of like climate discussions?
Yeah. I think it's that there's lots that farmers can do on their farms to not only reduce the emissions that are generated, but also through a range of different practices, we can actually help to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And so I think what we're bringing is some very lived experience to say that, you know, farmers need to be part of this conversation. We have an important perspective to bring, and that we can also be a significant part of the solution, but we need support to get there. And we need governments to help educate, to help lead research, and in some cases to help support financially transition to some more climate-friendly practices that can have a discernible impact on national emissions.
Fascinating times. You can't live in this time and not be conscious of.
The kind of historic moment is easily eclipsed by just the everyday, like, I'm getting my coffee this morning and like doing my job and doing all the things that I'm regularly doing, and maybe it's overstating the importance of this moment, but it's hard to imagine not looking back in 20 years and being like, man, I'm glad that we pushed when we did. I'm glad that we did these things when we needed to do them, and not, we were really apathetic and we really fucked it up, and there's not an opportunity to go back.
Well, Stu, it's been a pleasure. A wonderful day for us to be with you and to send you off. Hi, Stuart. I can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. And we just want to get a feel for everything else happening around there. We saw you marching the other day with, what was it, 250,000 people. Give us just a sense of the mood around everyone that you're meeting. What's it been like for you so far?
It's been a whirlwind. This whole thing is a pretty crazy experience, honestly. Everyone that I've talked to, and that's primarily, farmers and farm workers, has been asking themselves, we came all this way, sometimes at huge, expense, both financially and also to the environment. It's like I flew halfway across the world to go to a conference that's about the climate crisis, and there's definitely a hypocrisy to be found there. Really, our responsibility is to take what we learned here and to share what we saw, both while we're here, but also when we come home, and continuing the fight at home. And that's the only way this thing is going to actually make it make it worth it.
Stu, I think those were great thoughts for all of us here to take in. So we appreciate your time. We do hope to check in with you one more time. When do you?
I think it feeds our soul to do this advocacy work, and I think that's part of why we've chosen to be farmers, that it's a really meaningful job and you have to be a certain type of person in order to do that work.
So when's your turn to go off to a conference? Or how does that conversation happen?
I think that Stu is really well suited to that role, and I am really comfortable in my role of being the one that stays home and does the farm work. And I think that's the way I like it to be.
So what were the exact sort of chants, if you don't mind sharing with us?
Who has the power? The people have the power. And some call back and forth like that. I'm not going to sing anymore for you, but
just curious. Based on some of the sort of protests that you've been a part of and the groups that you've been a part of, what would you say is a success?
You know, I think increasingly the eyes of the world turn more and more on this issue. In people rests the power. It's when we're working together and we're able to sort of cross over and into our other people's silos and work together that we are capable of truly amazing things, which dovetails very nicely with my own farming philosophy, which is in diversity there is strength.
I think that you know, you summed up a lot there for us. We appreciate it.
The advocacy piece, you know, is central to what we're doing here. And so it's not like an extra. It's very critical to the work that we're trying to do on the farm.
And part of that is making sure that we're running a successful, thriving small farm.
Yeah.
And that's a really important piece.
You know, we're young enough to this sector and this job that no one season is alike, and the idea of any kind of predictability or regularity is already like a thing of the past for us anyway. I've never experienced that.
No.
And it's only getting worse. And so building systems which are resilient beyond the weather is like a tall order for farming, but is also something that we're striving towards as well.
Which is another reason why we are changing our business model slightly, and we're taking on more CSA members next year. Because we really see the resilience in the CSA model and feeding this group of people year after year and having open communication with them.